Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope you're all having a fantastic start to your weekend. Hope you've all had an amazing Saturday afternoon. And I hope you're all looking forward to the rest of this brand new weekend in March 2024 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and remember to always remember to put the notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content planned for the rest of this year in 2024 on this channel, on this community for brand new videos, shorts, live streams, brand new games, brand new gaming content, brand new Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 2 Myths and Mortals, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and much more brand new stuff planned for the rest of this year in 2024 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe if you're new, and you're all very welcome to join us on this journey. Manchester United 2, Everton 0, the final score at Old Trafford this afternoon on match day 28 of the 23-24 Premier League season. An absolute game that was basically dominated by penalty kicks. I mean, that game today for Manchester United, I don't know how Everton haven't won. Like, honestly, today, I don't know how Everton didn't win that game. Based on the performance and the amount of chances Everton created at Old Trafford today, I honestly am lost for words how Manchester United have got across the line, because I didn't think we would score based on that dull, bang average performance. And it was ugly. There was nothing pretty about it. I honestly thought today that was quite frankly embarrassing. The second half was a complete anticlimax. The first half, United win 2 penalty kicks down to Alejandro Garnacho. And really, that was the whole domination of the game, was 2 penalty kicks to get Manchester United over the finish line, to get the 3 points. Apart from that, what performance was that from Manchester United? I mean, the whole game was so completely imbalanced. Like, in the first half, I thought United were on the back foot. Everton, for me, started the much stronger team based on the amount of chances they were creating. I thought Everton were the better team, and they did dominate in the first 10 minutes. But to obviously concede 2 stupid penalties through 2 bad challenges by Ben Godfrey and obviously James Tarkowski absolutely cost Everton today. And apart from that, if those decisions wouldn't have happened, Everton would have claimed an unlikely point today, because Man United was simply not at the races. I honestly thought it was such a dull game. The whole game was just so dull. I thought to myself, I've never thought of, switching the game off at halftime as much as today, because I just don't think Man United, I don't think United cared really. I don't think they were really at the races. I just don't understand where the performance was. I was really struggling to find any positives to come out of today's game, apart from the 2 goals, because apart from that, that second half was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And Man United were on the back foot in that second half. Again, the amount of chances Everton create on the Manchester United goal, how Everton didn't find a goal. Well, it's no surprise they didn't find a goal. 10 games without a win, now 11 games without a win in all competitions for Everton under Sean Dyche, which Everton now are getting closer to that dreaded bottom 3. If Everton would have had a clinical striker instead of relying on Beto and Calvert-Lewin, Everton today, I think, would have won that game based on the amount of chances they created in the second half. They absolutely dominated the game. And I'm happy, of course, that United have won and we've got the 3 points, but the performance wasn't there today. I think United really lacked cutting edge the whole game, the whole 90 minutes. I thought United lacked a hell of a lot today. There was no control of the midfield. The amount of times we gave the ball away and lost possession, the amount of chances Everton were getting through one-on-one with Onana, the amount of set pieces United gave away for Everton, free kicks and corners. I just don't think Man United really tried today. And I think they were basically relying on luck. And luckily today, Garnacho was probably United's best standout player for the whole game for winning the 2 penalties. I mean, brilliant, wing play. And obviously to go down from 2 bad tackles to win the 2 penalties, it's obviously, a bonus that you get awarded the penalties. But how are Man United not scoring a lot more than 2 bewilders me. But I'm not surprised by it because the team today, it just lacked any charisma. I think the identity wasn't really there. I think it was so boring that when you are so close to switching your team off that you love and you support, that quite frankly says a lot about where this club is. I think this club for me is on the backward step. I don't think for me that was pretty today. I think United have got very, very, very lucky. And like I said, I think Everton are going to feel hard done by obviously the penalty decisions. Obviously, for me, I think the main talking point from the end of the first half was the Mykolenko handball. That clearly is handball. We have seen those decisions given so many times in other Premier League games at Old Trafford. United should have had a third penalty, and that would have killed the Everton fight back off. I think, Everton being down 2-0 at half time. I was quite surprised by their comeback in the second half. Like, they looked like the better team. They looked like the team that were 2-0 up, and they had nothing to lose. And Sean Dyche's team actually went for it to try and find a consolation, or even to try and rescue a point. But Everton, again, are a team that are relying on Beto and Calvert-Lewin. Like, the midfield, there's a lack of quality, except for Onana, through, tried to repeat the Garnacho wonder goal at Goodison in the previous fixture. That was Everton's best chance on goal. And maybe the first set piece from the first 5 minutes that Everton had on goal, when Ben Godfrey and obviously Onana, the Everton midfield, tried to put the ball in from the Everton free kick from the set piece. Those two chances probably, and maybe, the Dobin low ball cross, the United penalty error, Calvert-Lewin couldn't find the end of it to find a consolation. I think Everton, with better players, would have really won that game today. I think United have got to have a hard-on look back at this performance and see where the fuck was the performance, because I saw nothing all game that gave me any confidence, any excitement, any buzz factor. I think United just didn't really care that, today was a fixture that we needed 3 points from, which we've got. We needed the win, which we've also got as well. But I just don't think United were there today. I don't know why we really struggle to break down an Everton team that have been fighting relegation for like how many seasons now. And against a team like that, are really, really struggling, 10 games without a win, you honestly thought the floodgates would have opened at 2-0. But United just did not look like they had any gas left in the tank. They looked like a team that had no idea what they were doing. I thought the whole charisma of the performance was lacking so much. And I think, the whole team looked majorly off to that. I don't know why I looked at that team and it looked like that there was no real enthusiasm to, dominate the game. I mean, the possession-wise, United couldn't control the ball. United were at sixes and sevens at times, because the amount of times we gave the ball away through the midfield. And I think one pinpoint, which has been basically right bang on today, is I think Casemiro today has had one of his worst ever performances in a Man United shirt ever since he's been at the club. I thought Casemiro was way off. And at the end of the day, when you are trying to win a game by the midfield, to control the midfield so you don't, get the Everton players through one-on-one against the back four of Manchester United, the midfield has got to do a lot better than that. The amount of times he gave the ball away and lost possession, and the amount of loose passes as well. United, are very, very lucky today that they're playing Everton, because if they're playing any other team in the top six, United would have been found out very, very quickly, and United would have conceded goals. And they luckily today that Everton didn't have their players at their best to find the back of the net, because the second half, Everton were the better team by an absolute mile, were the better team by a mile. I can't fault them for what they did in the second half. They came out in the second half and they know they've got nothing to lose now. Obviously, they're 2-0 down. They obviously know the comeback isn't going to happen. And they know that, being 2-0 down, the morale's going to be on the floor. But Sean Dyche's team never give up. And I think for me, he's done a good job with what he's got. But Everton's resources and the players they have, they've not really got that quality to be able to do it over 90 minutes. I think Everton have got, one or two really key players. But apart from that, Everton today, they show why they're fighting relegation. They show why they have sacked manager after manager. And you can show why, again, that they're getting a points deduction coming. Financial fair play at Everton, obviously, to explain that is they've spent money the club's not actually got, and they've tried to get away with it and dwindle the books a little bit and try and get away with it without the Premier League finding out. And obviously, the players they've got available to them, they can only rely on loans. And apart from that, that Everton team lacks a hell of a lot. The two standouts for me today was probably Onana and James Garner. For me, that midfield duo was actually quite decent. And I think if you were to have put those two in Man United's midfield today, United would have been in absolute cruise control. I don't think our midfield stood up to the task today. And again, I can't understand why we have gone with a false nine in the team. I can't understand why Scott McTominay has kept his place from the Manchester derby. I mean, let's be honest here. I'm happy we've got the result, and I'm happy that United have somehow got a win, but that was ugly. It was so ugly. The lack of talent, the lack of passion. That United team just did not look like they were ready to go today. The team lacked so much ideas. We're hoofing the ball into the box all the time. We're giving the ball away on the counter-attack. We're losing the ball defensively. And Everton were pounding that United goal in the second half. Pounding the goal. Like, the chance they created, like, you don't let a relegation bottom 4-5 team come to Old Trafford and dominate you in the second half. I don't know why. It's like Man United switched off. It is like we were 2-0 down instead of Everton. That is how, for me, it came across. It felt like we were the losing team and we were the team with the goal line deficit. And I felt like, United just didn't really know what to do in the second half. It's like they felt like, we've got the 2 goals from the penalty spot, which we've got to be lucky we found them, because otherwise we ain't looking like we're going to score. And we don't really need to, do much more in the second half. There's an opportunity here today that United could have really punished that Everton team and really put a few more goals into the back of their net. But it's like United paid way too much respect to Everton. I don't know why we did that. I don't know why we took our foot off the gas in the second half. I know the game's won and I know we're 2-0 up, but there's an opportunity here to build the confidence around the whole team by finding a few more goals to add to our goals that we've scored today. And I mean, 2 penalty kicks, one from Bruno Fernandes and one from Rashford, both, very calm and collective penalty kicks to obviously get United the 2 goals and the 2-0 lead at half time. I just don't understand why we didn't build on that today. I just didn't see any real optimism in the second half. Like, I didn't see a team that looked like they really thought, you know what, there is an opportunity, let's try and take it. I saw players that really didn't really care. They knew the game was won, they knew the game was up, and they knew Everton had lost. But Everton get a consolation. That second half changes completely. The pattern of the game will change. Everton will come out the starting blocks, and if they find a goal, which luckily they didn't, because if they did have better players, those chances they had, they would convert them. And I think United are very lucky that, Garnacho has done what he's done today to get the 2 penalty kicks. Without Garnacho, we don't get our 2 goals today. And that is why I've given him my man of the match, because the whole game was dominated by the quality of Garnacho. And I know he's been inconsistent in the last few games, and he's not been the player that we all thought, especially in the Manchester derby, but at home to Fulham as well. Garnacho is a very inconsistent player and does show times of frustration and disappointment, but we all know he's got that quality in there. And today, you've got to really thank him for finding that quality to be able to be brought down in the box, not just once, but twice, to get awarded 2 penalties. Because where would United would have found the goals today? I actually do not know. I do not know where I would have found any optimism for Manchester United to find those 2 goals. Because the whole game and the whole pattern of the game, this for me, if United didn't have the 2 penalties and we didn't convert either of them, this game for me would have had 0-0 written all over it. And that for me is a fair view. I think for me today, if you don't have those 2 penalties, United would not have won this game. This would have finished 0-0. And again, there would have been calls for Erik ten Hag to go. But I think today he's got his job for another week. But the quality against a better opposition is going to end up biting Manchester United really, really hard. Because I know it's only Everton, but I expected a dominating Manchester United performance. I thought going into the game today, this is Everton. They're going to get another point deduction. There's a huge opportunity here to deal them a lot more damage and a lot more problems going forward for the rest of the Premier League season. Today, Everton looked like they were where Man United were in the league. They looked like, for me, they were the top 6 club. And they looked like they came to Old Trafford with really nothing to lose and nothing to fear. And especially, United's last 4 games, it's 2 wins and 2 defeats. And United do concede goals. They showed that against Man City and they showed that against Fulham at home. And United really struggled in both those games and we lost both of them. And Everton, I thought, would have found the confidence today to be able to get Manchester United problems. And I think today it summed up that the quality in both teams is quite night and day. You've got a back 4 of Everton that is quite frankly aging with James Tarkowski and Ben Godfrey. I mean, Doucouré, there's times, he shows dissent and he doesn't get happy with certain decisions being made by the ref. But it was just, I just didn't look at that United team today and it did not fill me with any confidence. I think changes needed to be made from the team selection for the Manchester derby. I think today, it did show a lot that we are struggling without certain players. We've got no left backs for the rest of the season, which obviously has been made to look like a complete stupid mistake to let Reguilon go back to Tottenham and then on loan to Brentford. I think also today it showed that we are missing Lisandro Martinez. We are missing Rasmus Hojlund. We are lacking a right winger, even though you've got 2 of them on the bench. I just didn't recognise why the same team was kept for the Manchester derby in that 3-1 defeat. I thought changes would have had to have been made today by Erik ten Hag to turn the form around, because at this moment in time, Man United's form is very up and down. And I think the Manchester derby summed up how bad we actually were. And I thought, we have got to rotate the team. We are going to have to make changes. Like Eriksen, Amrabat, Ahmad, Antony, all on the United bench again. How we are playing a false 9 against a team like Everton, where the problems do come down the wing against their back 4. That's where Everton caused a lot more problems. And what we've done again today, which is still for me a major frustration, is you're still playing players that position that don't work. Like Garnacho isn't a right winger. Bruno Fernandes isn't a right winger. And you've deployed a midfield 3 of Casemiro, Mctominay and Mainoo. And you've put Fernandes on the right wing when he's not a right winger. And obviously Garnacho was then all of a sudden shifted to the right to get Bruno on the left. And that happened all second half. That every time on the counter-attack, Bruno was always on the right and then the left. And then Garnacho and him integrated between both positions. I don't know why we're still doing that, because the midfield today was shit. Mainoo was being dominated by Doucouré, Onana and James Garner. For me, that was quite worrying in some aspects today, that a young 18-year-old midfielder does not got the height of, Onana, Doucouré and James Garner. how many times he lost the ball today? Probably not Mainoo's, most best performance in the Man United shirt. The same goes for Mctominay. Why we're deploying him as a false nine absolutely bewilders me, because we need to be scoring goals and the midfield is being dominated because the main guy in the midfield, you've then shifted to the right wing, where we have got right wingers on the bench who could cause Everton's back four a load more problems. So that, for me, shows a lack of, we don't know what we're doing. And then Casemiro as well. I couldn't believe how bad he was today. And I'm a big fan of Casemiro. He's one of my favourite United players. But today, absolutely dreadful. And I think for me, is it now time to move this guy on? Because I think for me, he's losing his legs. I mean, I think the age is probably catching up with him. His legs is probably done, and the start and the tempo of the Premier League is only going to get quicker and quicker. And if you've got an aging midfield with a lack of quality left in some of these players' careers, the midfield is going to get caught out. And I think today it summed up how bad Casemiro was, because every time he got the ball, he lost the ball. The amount of loose passes he made, the amount of possession he kept on losing. I've never thought Casemiro would have been that bad today, but I thought the midfield would have been all right. I just don't understand why Mctominay was in that midfield three, because that, for me, is where United were getting problems being made from their own devices. Really, I think Manchester United were really lacking that midfield dominance, because Fernandes is not in that midfield three. He isn't a right winger. He is a fucking centre attacking midfielder, and you're playing him on the right wing when he's not a right winger. You can't do that. You've got to have traditional players in their favoured positions to create better chances for Manchester United going forward. And I think today that summed it up for the whole 98, 94, 95 minutes. It was so dull, because United were on the back foot in the second half. Everton dominated them, and for me, if Everton would have found a consolation, they might have found an equaliser. But you've got to be thankful today that that didn't happen, because this would have been a bad draw. Or if this would have ended even in a defeat, there would have been calls for Eric Ten Hag to go. But in the end, United have really, really gotten away with the win today, because it was just not Manchester United at the races. It was just, you know what? We don't know what to do. The team just doesn't. I look at this team at the moment, and I look at the last few games, and all of a sudden, this is going down fucking hill again. And, it's a good win, and it's a result, and at least it's 3 points. But I can't really gloat about that performance. I'm expecting 10 out of 10 performances from every Manchester United player. And I think today, I can't really, give any of them a 10 out of 10, probably bar Garnacho, because like the commentator said on TNT Sports, without Garnacho's quality today, if he doesn't get brought down for those penalties, this game would have finished as a draw, and Ten Hag would have been facing even more questions to keep his job as Manchester United manager. And I think today, this is still another talking point. You've got to question how Man United won the game, because where was the team today? Where was the performance? Where was that team today? Where was that team's head at? Because the whole game was just basically, well, we're 2-0 up. We're going to shut up shop now. We don't really need to go full guns blazing in the second half. Let's try and keep a clean sheet, and let's try and break Everton on the counter-attack. That was the whole game plan for me. That is how I saw it. We were trying to break Everton down on the counter-attack, because their back four does get caused problems because of Tarkowski and Ben Godfrey. If those two don't make those challenges on Garnacho, you've got to applaud Everton for coming to Old Trafford and getting an unlikely point or even a win. You've got to really, credit where credit's due. You can't fault Everton's resolve in that second half. 2-0 down, well, the game's gone. You're not going to win. You're going to lose again. But I just thought, Man United, there's a big chance here that, Everton could go down this season, and they still could go down. because of their penalty points that they're going to get deducted again. But now this looks like an Everton team that all of a sudden are going to start finding results from somewhere. They've got to start picking up wins pretty quickly because it's now 11 games without a win. And Sean Dyche, credit what he's doing. But with these type of players, I'm not surprised Everton are struggling again. I really hope they go down. I don't think the Premier League want them to go down because they've been such a resilient resource in the Premier League. And I don't think the EFL want Everton in the Championship either, because you would probably expect Everton to come straight back up. But I think today, Everton did deserve the 2-0 defeat based on their defensive mistakes. Ben Godfrey shouldn't have been making that challenge. James Tarkowski shouldn't have made that challenge either. And both fouls are on Garnacho. And they probably should have known a lot better than what they did to concede the penalty kicks, because they knew Garnacho's threat. They knew the problems he was going to cause. And they basically knew the damage he could do. And unfortunately, they've both gone in silly, making stupid tackles, and they've given 2 penalties away. And I think that Everton back four, there's where your problems are, as well as their attack. Their midfield's actually all right, because you've got Jack Harrison there, you've got Onana, you've got Decore, and you've got James Garner. That midfield at Everton is actually not that bad. I mean, I would have probably put James Garner in United's midfield today and Onana instead of Mctominay and Casemiro. And I think United would have won the game by a lot more goals, because I think for me, they absolutely battered our midfield three. Our midfield was non-existent today. And, it just shows that where Everton's problems are, like I said, at the back four, but it's also the front three. You can't trust Beto. He ain't good enough. You can't trust that young striker in Dobin. He ain't good enough. And Calvert-Lewin is injury prone. And again today, when you're starting Calvert-Lewin and Dobin on the bench for Beto, I don't think Sean Dyche rates that Everton attack. I think if he had a better striker that could put the ball in the net, Everton might actually be all right. And they might actually start moving up that Premier League table. But now, it looks like Everton's problems are going to get worse because of the lack of defence and the lack of goal-scoring threat. And that was Everton's problem all game long. The midfield was doing their job perfectly because they outclassed Mainoo, outperformed Mctominay, and, shat all over Casemiro, basically. Those 3 in the midfield today was so much better than Man United's midfield, I'm afraid. I think our midfield was non-existent the whole game long. As for our attack, well, I mean, again today, and I don't know how, a certain Marcus Rashford's in this team. I can't believe Wayne Rooney was absolutely waxing lyrical over Marcus Rashford today. He's done really well today. He's created so many chances, and he's actually made a few good, impressive runs down the Everton left flank. What game is he watching? Seriously, what game is he actually watching? Marcus Rashford did a lot today. He scored 1 goal from the penalty spot, and you're absolutely waxing lyrical over for doing basically fuck all for the rest of the game. That he made quite an impactful impact on that Everton performance. I don't know what Wayne Rooney, and I know Wayne Rooney absolutely loves Marcus Rashford. He absolutely rates the guy, but all he did all game was score a goal from the penalty spot. And apart from that, again, has been left completely non-existent. So I don't understand where he's given him all that credentials, because Rashford, all game, I thought lazy, lethargic, uninterested. I didn't see Rashford lighting up the game. I didn't see Rashford doing a really, really good job for the club. I saw a player that is lacking goals, energy. He's even getting frustrated at Eric Ten Hag. I mean, well, maybe Rashford, you need to step your game up a little bit, mate, because at the end of the day, you're being paid all this money, but you're playing shit. So again, I don't get where these players' confidence has gone. It looks like a team that looks completely lack of any fucking care or any charisma. It just looks like a bang average mid-table Manchester United, and that's what we are. We are a mid-table club. We are a club that, is lacking quite a lot. And I'm not surprised by it because these players aren't good enough, really. If we had better players today and we had a fully fit squad, we might have battered Everton today. We might have sent them to the cleaners. But United didn't have it in them. So I think the Wayne Rooney, credentials about Marcus Rashford's completely invalid. I don't know where he's got that view and opinion from, because he made one decent run into the box earlier in the first half, and that was about it. And I don't understand why Fernandes has given Rashford the second penalty either. I would have, if that was me, I would have been showing today that, let me score both the penalties because I'm the one that's going to create the goals. And again, Rashford may have scored, but that's his first goal at Old Trafford all season. That says a lot, really. If that is Rashford's first goal at Old Trafford all season, that actually says quite a lot about where the problems are. And it's the front three, I'm afraid, as well as the midfield. The back four, at times in the second half, you look at the amount of chances Everton have created, surely they're going to find something from somewhere. And again, a standout also for today's game was probably an unlikely source in Johnny Evans. And I mean, the applause he got coming off at Old Trafford, I thought, wow. And he did pretty well today, considering I don't want the guy at the club that we should have never really gone back in for. And you look at the amount of games Johnny Evans has played this season, he probably, even himself, didn't expect to be playing so many games for Manchester United this season. And he's had to be drafted in because of the injuries we've got to our back four. We've basically, at the moment, we are relying on fringe players at the moment. We may be having players like, on the bench that we have available to us. But at this moment in time, Evans, to an extent, did really well today defensively. But at the start, he was all over the place. 6s and 7s with the ball. And the amount of times he put the ball out of play, I was quite surprised. But in the second half, all of a sudden, Johnny Evans came out of his shell and all of a sudden started producing, a clinical defensive performance. And I think, maybe Varane could learn something from that. But it's also, our left back and right back as well, like Lindelof and Dalot. I mean, how many more times do we have to keep, mentioning these two? Like, defensively, I mean, it concerns me that we are going to be stuck with Dalot and Lindelof for a long time. And I think for me, if better right backs and left backs come available in the summer, United are going to have to push the button, I'm afraid, because those two going forward are trash. Defensively, get caught out on so many different occasions in that game today. And it's Dalot's range of passing as well. It's just not good enough, I'm afraid. And as for Lindelof being played out of position, I get why we're having to do it because we've got no left backs at all. Letting Reguilon go back was a massive, massive mistake. And United now are probably regressing it quite a lot. And we're in the position that we're in. It doesn't surprise me. United should have kept Reguilon. And apparently, according to our medical department, they thought Shaw and Malacia would both be fit by January to resume the rest of the season. That, unfortunately, was a load of lies, an embarrassment from our medical department at Manchester United Football Club. And Reguilon has gone back to Spurs and then gone on loan to Brentford. And that's probably been a massive, massive mistake. And I think that mistake will come back to haunt us, I'm afraid, because we need left backs at Manchester United. We do not need to be playing right backs at left back because it ain't going to work, I'm afraid. And I know it's not Lindelof's fault. I know he ain't good enough. I know Dalot, he's shit as well. But this is Man United's recruitment. Today, they can't get forward with the ball in either the first or the second half. Defensively, they concede so many chances. And, the amount of time they both put the ball out for a corner to the opposition, or the amount of time they just hoof the ball up and it finds an Everton player. There's no charisma in either of those two players, I'm afraid, in the game. I'm afraid. It doesn't work for me. I'm sorry to say, but if United want to start creating more clinical chances next season, we need traditional right backs. We need traditional left backs that can get forward of the ball and defensively do their job as well. Neither of those two do it for me, I'm afraid. So United have got to count themselves, lucky that you're playing an Everton team, because Everton, you're basically relying on Jack Harrison on the wing to get the ball into the box. And, without Demarai Gray, who was Everton's best player at the club, I don't know what the hell's happened to Demarai Gray. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's been suspended by the club. I don't know what's happened to Demarai Gray. But I actually rate the player. I think he's actually quite good. And I thought at Everton he was doing actually quite well. But all of a sudden, he's not in the Everton team now. So I don't know if he's injured or not. But if Demarai Gray was available for Everton today on the left-hand side of the pitch, on the left wing, I think for me, he would have caused a lot more problems to Dalot. I think he would have had Dalot in his pocket, because of Dalot just exposes himself, I'm afraid. Lindelof does the same. So the back four is, it's as shaky as the midfield. I was surprised by the midfield lack of balance and the lack of, charisma and control, even though, you would have thought playing four midfielders is a stupid idea, which it still is for me. I think United need to go back and look at this formation, because I don't understand what the hell has Ahmad done not to get any game time. Why is Eriksen not playing as much now? Is Eriksen going to go at the end of the season? I know Eriksen has been out with injury and he's been in and out this United team, but isn't it about time that we get Eriksen back in this team for fucking Scott McTominay? Or actually go back to having a traditional three-man midfield and having a right winger on the right wing? There was a huge opportunity for right wingers to absolutely step up today, because Everton's back four at times was so wide open. The amount of through balls that Man United were able to be making happen, is because the back four left so many gaps. The gaps were clear to the naked eye, and the gaps were there because Everton, there's too much of a high line, and that is why the ball was being able to be slipped through their back four, and the back four were wide open. So there was a huge opportunity today for either an Antony or an Ahmad to step up. I don't think Ten Hag rates Ahmad. I think Ahmad is probably going to go at the end of the season, and it is a real shame. I want Ahmad in this team. I want him on the right wing, and I want a traditional right winger being put in that position, because that is where we can create opportunities, goals and assists for our players in the other sectors of our team. Antony, will he still be here? I think, the subs we made, Kambwala, what is he doing in this team? He ain't good enough. Antony didn't really do anything when he came on. Amrabat was a complete waste of a sub. It was just so shockingly poor, even though we've won, and I'm happy about that. I'm not trying to be negative. I just want United to be a bit more clinical and be a lot more desirable, because at the end of the day, we've still got a job to do. We've still got to get the win. We've still got to get 3 points. And if Everton, like I said in this live stream, if they had better players of the chances that they created, Everton would have converted them and scored a few goals, because they were the better team by an absolute mile. They outplayed Man United, and I can't fault them for that. United today have let Everton come to Old Trafford and basically dominate the whole game, because that was the pattern of the game for the whole 94 fucking minutes. And that, for me, summed us up today. It summed up that Man United knew, well, Everton haven't won a game in 10, which is now no win in 11 games in a row. So now we don't really need to punish Everton as much as what we want. But again, Everton, if they stay up in the league, if they stay up in the Premier League again this season, you are going to think to yourself, Man United have missed an absolute trick today, because you could have improved your goal difference, improved the goals in the team, and a few of these players could have been able to find the back of the net at Old Trafford today. And I think the atmosphere was really dreadful as well. I thought it was like being at a morgue. It was like being at a funeral. It was so quiet. And for me, it was that bad. The atmosphere just died. It was so really, I don't know. It was just not a convincing United performance, and the atmosphere, it was so quiet. And I think you could tell the fans were so frustrated with the first half, as well as that second half shambles as well. Because United didn't step up in that second half. They let Everton run the game for them. Everton dominated them. And you've got to hold your hands up. Everton came to Old Trafford and actually gave United a game. And the chances they had, if Everton score them, I don't think United win this game. I don't even think we get a point. I think United have got to find a lot more cutting edge in the future, because if we keep playing like this, we are going to get exposed massively. And it's going to happen a lot. And it will happen a lot more than what people are going to think. Because against better opposition, better players, could you imagine what they would do if they know Man United midfield is completely off and the defence is, open because of Dalot, Lindelof, Evans, Varane, and the attack as well? Well, what attack? We haven't got a fucking front three at the moment. We've basically got a front two, which is basically Rashford and Garnacho. And Rashford can't hold his hands up because I thought he was shit apart from the penalty he scored. Fernandes being played on the right. I think Eric Ten Hag, I don't understand why he keeps doing it. Something clearly, for me, is going on behind the scenes that Scott McTominay all of a sudden has forced himself into this team. Something has happened with the change of formation to play a false nine with a four-man midfield. And then to put Rashford and Garnacho as your only front two and your two attacking threats for the whole game. Are you surprised United struggled? Because I'm not. I think United have absolutely dodged a bullet. Because, like I said, Everton had chances to score. And they're going to come away from Old Trafford feel really hard done by. They're going to feel that they could have got something from the game because they were the better team in the second half. And they were outplaying us. They were outplaying us on the pitch. You've got to hold your hands up. They've come to Old Trafford and they have actually given United a scare. They've come to Old Trafford and thought, you know what? We ain't got nothing to lose here. Let's try and give United a game. Even though the odds are not looking against us, we might be able to find a performance from somewhere to try and force United into making errors. And United were making errors. They were letting Everton have chance after chance on the goal in the second half. So at the end, United have got to be grateful that, for one certain player today, Garnacho, you've got to thank him. Because at the end of the day, he's the only United player for me that really stepped up, who showed any bloody fight to make something happen. And he made two things happen in the same game. He wins 2 penalties for, his courageous bravery to go into the Everton penalty area to try and make something happen, because I did not see that happen from any other United player today. None of them really can hold themselves in any glory, except probably for Garnacho for his performance today to win the 2 goals that we needed, because United wouldn't have scored today. If this game finishes 0-0, it would be shit, because you have let a relegation-threatened Everton come to Old Trafford and get an unlikely result. And that would have pissed a lot of people off. But I don't think the performance was there. I think United were miles off. They basically just, you know what? We're 2-0 up here. We really need to do a lot. Let's not beat around the bush. We've got the 2 goals. Let's try and keep a clean sheet. And if we can get a 3rd goal, let's try and do it on the Everton counter-attack. That, for me, cannot keep happening, because United will be open and be exposed in the future if they've got better players attacking that United back 4. Because the amount of times we gave the ball away, the amount of times we lost possession, how Everton did not punish us, well, you can see why. Their players they've got ain't good enough. And this is why Everton are struggling every fucking year. Every season long, Everton struggle because they haven't got the players to be able to deal damage to the opposition. And today, you've got to be thankful for Garnacho. Without him today, United do not win this game. We don't get 2 penalty kicks. We don't score the 2 goals we needed. And United have gotten away with it. They've gotten away with it today. There was nothing pretty about that game. It was an ugly, bang average, mid-table performance from Manchester United, I'm afraid. I think United have got to count themselves very lucky that they found the goals they did, because otherwise United were screwed. Because where was the goals going to come from in that team? I couldn't tell you, because I don't think any of them can cover themselves in any glory. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be, there's a lot more improvement. We've won the game. We've got the 3 points. We've got the result. We've now got to build on this, especially knowing we've got Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final next Sunday afternoon, which is going to be one hell of an afternoon at Old Trafford. So United 2, Everton 0 is the final score. And I hope you enjoyed this live reaction. Hit the like button and the share button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button and the retweet button. And always remember the notification bell. Put that bell on at all times so you receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of this year in 2024 for brand new games, brand new gaming content, brand new shorts, live streams, videos. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. We'll be playing Fortnite Chapter 5, Season 2, Myths and Mortals today as well. And then, yeah, the next preview and the next game we will be talking about will be in the early hours of Friday morning for the Emirates FA Cup quarter-final game between Manchester United and Liverpool next Sunday afternoon at Old Trafford. Our last trophy we can win, the last competition we can bring any silverware home from, and Liverpool are saying goodbye to Jurgen Klopp this season as well at the end. The preview will be Friday morning in the early hours, so join me for that. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Saturday afternoon. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legendary. And I'll see you on the next one.